could have been born at any time in history, and the Most High Yahweh chose for us to be here and now, a time when knowledge has increased and many go to and fro. We find ourselves in the time of the end, according to the book of Daniel, and as we have seen, comes with both blessings and spiritual trials like no other. The book of Revelation, the field manual to the end times, tells us what to expect and how to prepare, but was obscured from the generations with parables and hidden understandings just waiting for these last days to be unsealed. While we may also not get everything right, we will be leaning on the Spirit of truth of the Most High Yahuwah Sebaoth in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach to reveal to us the proper understanding. For who knows if you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. Welcome back, family. Shabbat Shalom. This is Adam from Parable of the Vineyard, and I welcome you. This is our Revelation line-by-line Decoded series. This is part 25 of our line-by-line reading and study of the book of Revelation, and tonight's going to be centered around Revelation chapters 17 and 18, and it's going to be all about Mystery Babylon, the identity, why she gets destroyed, the timing of the events, what else happens at the same time. So I pray that you keep an open mind tonight, because some of the things that I may say tonight may challenge what you currently hold as an understanding about the identity of Mystery Babylon, because I do believe that it has been taught incorrectly for a long time. And so I pray that you let the scriptures do the talking, and like I said, just keep an open eye. So let's bow our hearts unto the Most High, and first and foremost, thank Him for allowing us to do this. So Heavenly Father, Yahweh Most High, we just come before you as brothers and sisters that just love you, and we thank you for the ability to gather together like this. Even though it's just online, we just still thank you for the ability to do this and to study your word and to prepare and to uplift one another, to be ready for the return of Messiah Yahushua. And we pray that you open eyes and ears tonight, because this is a highly debated topic, and we just pray that your word shows us the truth of who's who and what's what. We love you. We thank you for sending Messiah Yahushua, that we may be reconciled to you, and we thank you for opening our eyes to your amazing commandments in these last days. Blessed be you, O Yahweh Sebaot. Amen and amen and hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is best day of the week. It's our appointment with the Most High every single week, and as His word says, this is His sign between us and Him, letting Him know that we are His. It's like the seal of approval, the stamp, the seal of His commandments. So praise be to Him for giving us His righteous rulings, His righteous commandments, judgments, mercies, all of it. So let's get right into it, and because like always we have a lot to go over. Let me just make sure that okay. We're good to go. All right, so we will be reading from the CEPHER version, and we will be cross-referencing with many versions tonight, including the Septuagint, the Targums, and a few others, KJV and a few others. So, again, I pray that you keep an open mind. This is a pretty... it's a highly debated topic. It's like one of the key topics that people love talking about, and there's a wide array of opinions, just like the 144,000, the mark of the beast, who the beast is, who the Mystery Babylon is, and so again, please keep an open mind. And if some of the things that I share or the scriptures that are shown kind of go against some of the things that you currently hold as truth, I just ask you take it in prayer and let the Most High show you what is truth and what is not. So Revelation 17, here we go. And so I'm going to read all of 17, and then we'll go back and we'll kind of break it down. So All right, Chizayon, Revelation 17. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the ruach into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babel the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the Kodeshim, that's the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahusha. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said to me, Wherefore did you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And the beast that you saw was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the CEPHER of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And here's the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goes into perdition. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have 1 mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Adonai ha-Adonim, and Melech ha-Melechim. And they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. And he said unto me, The waters which you saw, where the whore sits, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For Yahweh has put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. So, I just realized we might have a little issue. A lot of the study tonight, I was actually going to share clips from the Mystery Babylon teaching I had, the video I had, and the Beast video I had. So we'll see how this is going to work. No big deal. We'll go over it. So anyways, so Revelation 17, 1-2. So again, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. Now, this is something we've actually been talking about since really Revelation 14. Revelation 14, we talked about this quite a bit, and last week we talked about it quite a bit with Revelation 16, and so we're going to go over a few more tonight to confirm, the kind of the timeline of when this is going to happen and how it's going to go down. Verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So, this fornication, it's not like, even though this world is filled with physical fornication, this fornication, what it's talking about, is a fornication of serving other gods other than Yahweh, even with the intention of serving Yahweh, but serving him in a way that he desires not. This is still fornication, so we'll be talking about that. So let's go over kind of the how and why of the destruction of Mystery Babylon. And so a couple things we'll go over. Isaiah 1:1, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. And so right away in Isaiah 1, it says, how is the faithful city, which is Jerusalem, become an harlot? And think about it. Who would Yah call a harlot? Someone that was married to him. Who was married to him? The house of Israel. And of course, that became the northern house and the southern house. So how is the faithful city, Jerusalem, become an harlot? It was full of judgment, righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. So let me just pause here real quick. So there's a lot of theories about Mystery Babylon being the RCC, the Roman Catholic Church, Vatican, if you will, the papacy, America, London, Islam, whatever. Let me just say this: almost the entire world is like a type of Babylon. I mean, every country, every place is littered with Babylon and her ways and her fornicating ways, her deceiving ways. Especially America. You think about Hollywood and the that machine that it is, and the music industry, and how it's just leading so many people astray. Totally get it. But what we're going to be dealing here with is Mystery Babylon, the mother who all these harlots has come from. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. So when you say America's Babylon, you're not wrong. But what we're going to be talking about tonight is Mystery Babylon, the mother, and there's only one. Jeremiah 2, hear ye the word of Yahweh, O house of Yaakov, and the families of the house of Yisrael. So this is just prefacing who he's speaking to. Just to save time, I'm kind of just nitpicking here through Jeremiah 2. For of old time, this is verse 20, for of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou saidst, I will not transgress. When upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest, playing the harlot. So he's talking to the house of Israel. Jeremiah 51, 1 through 6. This Jeremiah 50 and 51 are just filled with Mystery Babylon stuff. Jeremiah 51, 1 through 6. Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. Now this is a term that we thoroughly went through weeks ago, maybe even in the middle of Revelation, maybe chapters 6, 7, or 8. We talked about this quite a bit. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. And this day of trouble, this is the day of Yahweh. So, when we talk about Jerusalem being Mystery Babylon, and just bear with me if you're like, oh, there's no way, Jerusalem is his, his city, and all this good stuff about Jerusalem written. Just bear with me, please. Let the scriptures do the talking tonight, and I'll just kind of be trying to just fill in the gaps and help share with you what's going on, what we're seeing here. But this day of trouble, this is the day of Yahweh, commonly known as the day of the Lord. They shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine. And spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. And so we talked about this the last few weeks, about how it's going to be annihilated. This area, what's called, I believe it's the whole Levant area, or you can even just say maybe the land of Canaan, pretty much all the way from Lebanon all the way down into Egypt. All the scriptures, you look at all the minor prophets, the major prophets talking about the day of Yahweh, commonly known as the day of the Lord. That entire area is going to be annihilated. And I do believe that's all part of the plan, part of the New World Order plan. They started these sentiments with the Zionist movement in the late 1800s. And quite frankly, if you look at why World War I and World War II happened, a good portion of that is for the creation of the nation state of the political state of Israel. And, the whole Holocaust narrative, all that was to bring the sentiments about for the world to accept the League of Nations, which eventually became the United Nations, and they created this state. And not that this was outside of Yah's plans, as we read in Revelation 17:17, that Yah has put these plans in their hearts to fulfill His will, just like He put it in the heart of Nebuchadnezzar to go take down Judah, just like He put it in the heart of Sennacherib. Or Shalmaneser, to take down the northern house of Israel. And so, it might sound crazy, but yeah, he put these plans in people like Rothschilds and these people, these so-called elites, the Clintons, the Bushes, whatever. This all comes from Yah to bring about these end times. And these people are going to get theirs, just like, the Assyrians got theirs because they were haughty and prideful, and they went overboard, and, all these different things. But this is, the nation state of Israel, I believe, is when it gets annihilated. And I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not excited. I mean, a lot of you know that half of my family lives there, and so I'm not excited about that kind of stuff. I'm not like, yay, but this is what's going to happen. According to the scriptures, this is what's going to happen. And I do believe that, because of already the anti-Semitic laws and the just the kind of overall sentiments towards that area and towards the Jews, that if that area were to get annihilated overnight, I think that's going to be the pivotal point for the New World Order to unite the world and be like, listen, we can't do this anymore. We're not going to have millions and millions of people die over, religious, whatever the narrative might be, even though Yahweh might destroy it himself, like he's destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. They may blame it on a nuclear weapon, which I won't even go there tonight. And say that, it was Islamic terrorists or something, and, people will be like, okay, we've got to stop these religious wars, and we got to come together, we got to unite as one. It's the Tower of Babel all over again. That's the formation of the true New World Order beast system, and I do believe that is the pawn, that's the bait, if you will, and that's really the whole reason why that entire state was created. But as you'll see tonight when we go over the scriptures, this is all part of Yahweh's plan to, quite frankly, destroy the remnant of the wicked people that have crucified his Messiah and has denied his mercy and his favor through reconciliation and belief and looking upon his Son. Heavy stuff, I get it, but let's go. Let's keep going. Verse 4, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Yisrael hath not forsaken, nor Yehuda of his Elohim, of Yahweh Sebaot, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Yisrael. And this is exactly what it's talking about. This land, the land of what we know as the nation state of Israel, or Canaan, whatever you want to call it, it's filled with sin. You can look it up for yourself. It's like the number one destination for sodomites. It's like a palace for sodomy. Anyways, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. And we'll keep going on this thought process. Luke 21:20 through 22. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. Why? For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Now, you preterists and partial preterists, I totally get that Jerusalem was absolutely destroyed in 70 AD, and that was prophesied. But let's reason together for just a moment. You and I both know, I'm talking to you right now. You and I both know that all things which are written have not been fulfilled yet. And you and I both also know that Messiah Yahusha knows Scripture way better than us because, well, he is the Word, right? So he knows better that all things which are written were not fulfilled in 70 AD. We should know this as well. So again, what I do believe we're going to see is Jerusalem, or more so the Levant, land of Canaan, is going to be annihilated. And so, another thing that I think is really grossly misunderstood is when we look at Daniel 9, and it says the abomination of desolation, and that's been interpreted to be saying that a third temple is going to be built in Jerusalem, and the Antichrist is going to walk into it and say, I am God and there is none. There is none other beside me. I'm here to say that I don't think that's at all what's going to happen. I'm here to say that Jerusalem is the abomination, and she will be made desolate. And so what I do believe that Daniel 9 passage is actually saying is that the abomination will be made desolate. And that's exactly what we see here. When you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And this is the exact counterpart of the same portion of Matthew 24 when he talks about, when he references Daniel and the abomination of desolation, let the reader that has understanding understand. This is the counterpart in Luke that gives us a little different view of the very same passage. And so you can see that it says Jerusalem, that the desolation thereof is nigh. And what will unequivocally show you tonight is that Jerusalem is the abomination, the mother of harlots. Jeremiah 51:7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And what's Babylon's wine? It's serving foreign gods, and we're gonna expound on that a little bit later. But let's think about Babylon. Again, if we're assuming this is, or I'm gonna be showing you this is Jerusalem, you will see that this cup originates from her and is given to all the nations. Jeremiah 25:1-2, the word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, that was in the 1st year of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, the which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Judah and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, and we'll just skip down to what we're getting to here tonight, because the whole passage is speaking to the people of Jerusalem. For thus saith Yahweh Eloheinu of Yisrael unto me, take the wine cup of fury at my hand, and cause all nations to whom I send thee to drink it. And they shall drink, and be moved, and be mad, because of the sword that I will send among them. Then I took the cup at Yahweh's hand, and made all the nations to drink unto whom Yahweh has sent me. And where does it start? To wit, Jerusalem, and the cities of Judah, and the kings thereof, and the princes thereof, to make them what? A desolation. There it is again. An astonishment, and hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. Then it goes to the nations. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people, and all the mingled people, and all the kings of the land of Uz, and all the kings of the land of the Philistines, and Ashkelon, and Azza, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod. This is all the Levant area. Look all these up for yourself. Look up where Ashkelon is, where Palestine is, where Azza is, or Ekron, Ashdod. These are all in the Levant area. And all the kings of Tyrus, and all the kings of Zidon. This is all part of that area. And the kings of the isles which are beyond the sea, and Dedan, and Tema, and Buz, and all there in the utmost corners, and all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert, and all the kings of Zimri, and the kings of Elam, and the kings of the Medes, and the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world which are upon the face of the earth, and the king of Shishak shall drink after them. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Sebaot, the Elohim of Yisrael, drink ye, and be drunken, and spew, and fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. And it shall be, hold on, someone text me from the chat. I want to make sure that something isn't wrong. Okay, all is well. Verse 28, and it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at thine hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Sebaot, you shall certainly drink. For lo, I begin, right, this is where he starts, I begin to bring evil on this city which is called by my name. And as we've been discussing the last few weeks, brothers and sisters, I believe the destruction of Babylon is what starts everything. All the end times, everything we're waiting for, chaos, panic, the whole passage in Jeremiah 30 where people are like standing there with their hands on their loins like a pregnant woman, like, why do I see every man with his hands on his loins? And like a pregnant woman, yelling out in pain and looking after the things that are coming on the earth, and stock market crashes and the food shortage. I think everything is waiting in check for the destruction of Mystery Babylon, which we'll talk more about in a sec. So again, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name, and should ye be utterly unpunished, ye shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith Yahweh Sebaot. And that statement, quite frankly, that hasn't happened yet. There hasn't been a worldwide calamity like it's prophesied right here as of yet. Therefore prophesy thou against them all these words, and say unto them, Yahweh shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. Jeremiah 13:8-13. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, and for those of you that have watched the video we just put out yesterday, which was what was it called? Identity, the angel of Yahweh. When it says the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, takes on a whole new meaning of who that was. Thus saith Yahweh, after this manner will I mar the pride of Judah and the great pride of Jerusalem. This evil people which refuse to hear my words, which walk in the imagination of their heart. And I could tell you again, as a child growing up in rabbinic Judaism, I could tell you something. This hasn't changed. Has not. These people, even though they're my family and I still love them very much, and I'm not speaking evil of them, I'm just speaking of the situation of, the reality of the situation. We've been grown up to believe that, the Jewish people, they're Yah's people. Listen, they may have at one time, but they denied his Messiah. They are cut off. They are Gentiles. They are not in covenant with Yahweh. Why? Because they still love the traditions of men more than the words of the Most High. That's what Yahushua came to do. He came to rebuke them for their man-made traditions. He says, well has Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, for in vain you do worship me, right? He's like, you draw nigh to me and honor me with your lips, but your heart is far from me. Nothing's changed. And unfortunately, there's two gutters in this walk. One of them is Judaism, the other is Christianity. And they both do the same thing. They say, "Oh, we love you, and you're our God," but they don't do what he says. They don't keep his commandments. They keep the commandments of the traditions of their fathers. Nothing has changed unto this day. So again, this evil people which refuse to hear my words, which walk in the imagination of their heart, and walk after other Elohim to serve them and to worship them, shall even be as this girdle which is good for nothing. For as the girdle cleaveth to the loins of a man, so have I caused to cleave unto me the whole house of Israel, the whole house of Yehudah, saith Yahweh, that they might be unto me for a people, and for a name, and for a praise, and for a glory. But they would not hear. Therefore thou shalt speak unto them this word, thus saith the Yahweh, the Elohim of Yisrael, every bottle shall be filled with wine. And they shall say unto you, do we not certainly know that every bottle shall be filled with wine? Then thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will fill all the inhabitants of this land, even the kings that sit upon David's throne, and the priests and the prophets, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with drunkenness. Jeremiah 51:8-9, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. And so this Jeremiah 51 prophecy is all about Mystery Babylon, all of it. So who would the Most High try to heal? A heathen nation that's not his, that has no regard for him or his ways? No, he's trying to heal his own nation. Let's look at one of the very famous passage, 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land. But they wouldn't listen. Jeremiah 3:22, return ye backsliding children, and I will heal your backslidings. Behold, we come unto you, for you art Yahweh our Elohim. Right? He wants to heal them. I mean, just like in the wilderness, right? From the fiery serpents, they had Moshe. Yahweh told Moshe to make the fiery or the bronze serpent, and everyone that looked upon the serpent was healed. And just like Messiah Yahushua said, just as Moshe lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so the Son of Man be lifted up, and everyone that look upon him, right, shall be healed. That's where all of our faith started, right? So, talking about being healed, Isaiah 40:1-2, comfort ye, my people, saith your Elohim. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of Yahweh's hand double for all her sins. And a lot of you that know your Revelation scriptures know that Mystery Babylon was given a double cup portion. Jeremiah 51:13, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. So this is obviously quoting, or Revelation is pulling from this, the dwelling upon many waters. But the interesting thing is we get the definition of what the many waters is in Revelation. Revelation 17:15. Oh, here it is. And he saith unto me, the waters which you sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And, this is speaking about Jerusalem being Mystery Babylon. I've been speaking about this for a few years now, and still people will tell me that can't be Jerusalem because it's not an island, or it's not surrounded by physical water. But it tells you exactly here what the water symbolizes, and symbolizes just a diverse mix of people and multitudes, nations, and tongues, and quite frankly that could apply to the whole world at this point. Jeremiah 51:33-39, for thus saith Yahweh Sebaot, the Elohim of Yisrael, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. Nebuchadrezzar, the king of Babylon, hath devoured me. He hath crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitants of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea shall Jerusalem say. Therefore thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will plead thy cause, and take vengeance for you, and I will dry up her sea, and make her springs dry, and Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, and astonishment, and hissing, without inhabitant. And we're going to be talking about this, actually, because, people say this, well, that applies to, the physical Babylon where Nebuchadnezzar and Darius and others reigned from, but I'm here to say that was like just shy of Baghdad, and people are living all over that land right now. And what's really interesting is up until recently, the land of Canaan, Palestine, Israel as we know it, was laid desolate for generations, all the way up until just recent. And I'll share some historical proof for you on that. Actually, Mark Twain wrote a very famous article about his trip out there back in 1867, and we'll read his words in a little bit. They shall roar together like lions, they shall yell as lions' whelps. In their heat I will make their feasts, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith Yahweh. And I'm just looking at the time. Wow. I was thinking I was going to get through 17 and 18 tonight, but there's no way. All right, we'll take it slow. This is an important topic. Isaiah 29, 1-14. Woe to Ariel, the city where David dwelt. Add ye year to year, let them kill sacrifices, yet I will distress Ariel, and there shall be heaviness and sorrow, and it shall be unto me as Ariel, and I will camp against thee round about, and I will lay siege against thee with a mount, and I will raise forts against you, and you shall be brought down, and shall speak out of the ground, and thy speech shall be low out of the dust, and thy voice shall be as one that hath a familiar spirit out of the ground, and thy speech shall whisper out of the dust. Moreover, the multitude of thy strangers shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the terrible ones shall be as the chaff that passeth away. Yea, it shall be at an instant suddenly. Now listen, for those of us that we've been talking about this came up in Revelation 4 or 5, Revelation 6, Revelation 11, and a couple other places, but thou shalt be visited with Yahweh Sabaoth, with thunder and earthquake and noise and storm and tempest and a flame of devouring fire. And so again, this is what I believe is what starts the day of Yahweh, is the destruction of Babylon. And the multitude of all the nations that fight against Ariel, even all that fight against her and her munition, and that distress her, shall be as a dream of a night vision. It shall even be as when a hungry man dreameth, and behold, he eateth, but he awaketh, and his soul is empty. Or as when a thirsty man dreameth, and behold, he drinketh, but he awaketh, and behold, he is faint, and his soul hath appetite. So shall the multitude of all the nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Which this is not Babylon, this is New Jerusalem. Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For Yahweh hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers and the seers hath he covered, and the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, Read this, I pray you. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, Read this, I pray you. And he saith, I am not learned. Wherefore Yahweh said, Forasmuch as this people draw near to me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart from me, far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder. For the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. And I'm here to say, brothers and sisters, I believe we're exactly where we were 2,000 years ago. You've got religion dominating the scene, man-made religion dominating the scene, the true heart, the true faith completely hidden, completely obscured from the masses, and Yahweh does a marvelous work in the midst of the people. He did that with Yahusha, and I believe he's doing that again now with the Spirit, with the Ruach he's given us. I believe he's pouring out his rain from on high, the latter rain from on high. As we read in the second song of Moshe, Deuteronomy 32, it said that his doctrine shall drop as the rain, and his speech shall distill as the dew upon the tender plant. And we are the plants, right? As the parable of the seed, and the seed that Messiah Yahusha taught. So, any case, what I'm saying here is, again, you've got 2 billion professing Christians out there, and the majority of them, their hearts are far from him. So tonight, when we talk about the destruction of Mystery Babylon, I'm here to say I also believe the daughter of Babylon is destroyed as well. It may even be all at the same time. It may come one after another. I don't really know. But I'm here to say, when people are like, America's Babylon and it's going down, yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It's semantics, but that's the daughter of Babylon. And I think if we really want to understand really what's being said about Babylon and coming out of her, and what that really means and what that really looks like, if we really want to understand Revelation, I think we've got to understand the pieces, the players, if you will, who the beast is, who the whore is, which the beast, we went over that in depth when we went through Revelation chapter 13. And if you haven't seen it yet, there's a playlist for everything. Again, this is part 25, but each study is kind of on its own. It's not really dependent, although, obviously we learn as we go, and some of the concepts we kind of build on. But if you want to learn more about the beast, we've got a lot of resources here for you on that subject. Okay, so oh yeah, here we go. So I was talking to you about that article with Mark Twain. So Mark Twain's unwittingly prophetic vision for the state of Israel. So here's something interesting. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit here. A natural skeptic, Twain was not taken by the splendor of the Holy Land. This is when he went to go visit what we know now as the political state of Israel. He wrote irreverently about the country's legendary sights: the Sea of Galilee, a solemn, sailless, tintless lake, and unpoetical as any bathtub on earth. The Church of the Nativity was tricked out in the usual tasteless style observable in all the holy places of Palestine. Throughout Innocents Abroad, Twain explicitly states that the area was desolate and devoid of inhabitants. And again, this is in 1867. So we're talking about this land being desolate from, 70 AD roughly, or maybe shortly afterwards. We're talking hundreds of years. We're talking centuries. We're talking about maybe 1800 years that this land has laid desolate. And I'm here to tell you that the only reason that that area is thriving, it's not because Yahweh blossomed it. It's because of man-made technology that, or probably fallen angel technology that has allowed for artificial irrigation and those type of things. But outside of the areas, if you can look at it on go to Google Maps and go to satellite. You can look at it for yourself. Outside of where they've artificially made irrigation systems and whatnot. Without it, that land is still a barren wasteland, and it's just basically a big prop. It's what that is over there is a big prop for deception, and quite frankly, for again bringing about the end times. Literally setting that place up as bait to be destroyed and to bring about the true new world order and the gathering of the nations together. Riding on horseback through the Jezreel Valley, Twain observed, there is not a solitary village throughout its whole extent, not for 30 miles in either direction. There are 2 or 3 small clusters of Bedouin tents, but not a single permanent habitation. One may ride 10 miles hereabouts and not see 10 human beings. And it keeps going on. But basically, he journals his journey in the land of Canaan, Palestine, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a barren wasteland, just as the scriptures had prophesied it would be. But let's keep going. So verse 3, so he carried me away in the Ruach into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And here, unfortunately, I was relying... Oh, yeah, so I wanted to show you, this is the playlist. And you'll see right here, part 17 and part 18, we go over chapter 13, and you got over 4 hours of content of breaking down the beast of Revelation. So that we're not redundant, we'll be focusing specifically on the woman tonight. But, in speaking of the beast, just very briefly, Revelation 13, 1 through 2, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So there's a lot to be said in this verse right here. So this is very interesting. This is 3 of the 4 animals from Daniel's vision about the different kingdoms that will rule the earth. So here we are in the last days, and you basically have, this is showing you that the nations are going to come together as one. And what we have to also realize is the dragon gave this beast the power. And again, without going too far into it, I fully believe that Rome is the 4th beast of Revelation. There is no other. I know that a lot of people believe the beast is like Islam or a couple different things. But here's what we have to realize is Rome ruled from what was it, maybe 100 BC, 150 or 200 BC, roughly around there, all the way until like the 1800s when it received its mortal wound from Napoleon, and it got revived again in 1929 with the Lateran Treaty, which if you don't understand, you may want to do a little bit of research out there, but the Vatican, it's its own country, it's its own nation actually, within the state of, or the country of Italy. And I'm here to say that I believe they run the show behind the scenes. I believe that literally Lucifer, or excuse me, that's wrong. That's a whole other subject. Satan is the head over that. That's his church, and they rule and reign from the papacy. Islam was created by the papacy. Muhammad was an agent of the papacy. The United Nations, all this stuff. These are all babies of the papacy. This is the beast. The beast is what carried the woman. Without the beast, there would be there wouldn't have been Zionism. There wouldn't have been the Balfour Declaration. There wouldn't have been the United Nations. There wouldn't have been World War II. They organized all this. Of course, and again, the Most High is in control of everything, so it's not like the Most High is like, oh, how are you guys getting away with this? No, this is Revelation 17:17 says he puts this in their mind to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, again, to bring about these end times. So if you want, don't take my word for it, research it for yourself, but I'm here to say that the papacy is organizing all these things, and the Jesuits, these dark societies are running everything behind the scenes. So, all right, let's keep going. But, and speaking about that, when we talk about fornication, certainly the papacy has a lot of traces of Babylon. I mean, its whole religion is the cult of Babylon, right? And so I get it when people would associate the papacy or the Roman Catholic Church with Babylon, but you have to understand there's a Babylon that's way older than her. Would the Catholic Church start in 2nd century, 3rd century, the Roman Catholic Church, maybe in 1st century. So we're talking like way before that, which, again, the mother that even bore her is Jerusalem. And what is Babylon? What is this fornication? Quite frankly, it's serving other gods. And so even Protestant Christianity is a daughter of the Catholic Church, even with the Reformation and protesting, if you will. Even though Luther was in the right direction, getting away from the papacy, the religion is still littered with her ways. I mean, let's just talk about Sunday for a second. That's not the Sabbath day. And so even that alone, people are not hearkening unto what Yahweh has commanded, which is to keep the Sabbath day holy. Whether you do the 7th day Sabbath or you do the lunar Sabbath, let me just tell you something. It's not Sunday, right? And that's what 95% of professing Christians probably keep, maybe even more, maybe it's even more than that. I don't know. But not keeping his food laws, not keeping his feast days, and keeping Christmas and Easter and these pagan holidays, even though they honor him with their lips, their heart is far from them, right? Deuteronomy 6, all these commandments shall be in your heart. Revelation 2, the church of Ephesus, you've left your first love. That's not leaving Messiah Yahushua. Well, essentially it is, because he's the word, but really what that's referencing is our first love. It should be the commandments, the Torah of Yahweh within our hearts. So this is the danger of modern day Christianity, and you've got these what in Ezekiel 16 talks about these high places on every corner, spreading their feet wide open as a prostitute, inviting everybody in, to commit whoredom with her. That's every single church on every corner with the phallic symbol of Baal on top. It's a literal male reproductive organ sticking up straight up to the Most High, almost like a middle finger, like, hey, ha. Like, and everybody's blind to it because they've inherited the traditions of their forefathers and don't question it. But anyways, let me get off my my soapbox here. So let's keep going. So Revelation 17:4-5, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babel the Great. Here's the key: the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So America, a harlot, an abomination. Europe, I mean, all these places are harlots and abominations, but they have a mother. It's Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the OG, if you will, the original. We are Yah's people, but we're going to do it our way and not his way. That's committing whoredom. That's committing fornication, and they're the originators of doing so. So what else? Let's see. Let me get my notes here. Yeah, okay, we already talked about that. So yeah, Jerusalem is the founder of a people who honor them with their lips, and right. So let's take a look at this. This is Zephaniah 1. This is all about the start of the day of Yahuwah. And the word of Yahuwah, which came unto Zephaniah. So who is this? Who came to Zephaniah? Who's the word of Yahuwah, right? Here's Messiah Yahusha. The word of Yahweh, which came unto Zephaniah, the son of Cushai, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Yehudah. I will utterly consume all things from off the land. What land do you think he's talking about when he says the land? Saith Yahweh, I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven and the fishes of the sea and the stumbling blocks with the wicked, and I will cut off man from off the land, saith Yahweh. I will also stretch out mine hand upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. So here it is right here. If we could literally just read Zephaniah 1 and be like, here it is. This is the start of the day of Yahweh, commonly known as the day of the Lord. And what does it start with? It says, I'm going to sweep everything that's living off the land. And again, if he's saying the land, what land do you think he's talking about? Well, he says it right here. Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place in the name of the Chemarims with the priests, and them that worship the host of heaven upon the housetops, and them that worship and swear by Yahweh and swear by Malcham. So here's your foot in two different ponds. This is your drinking out of the cup of Yahweh and drinking out of the cup of devils. And unfortunately, a lot of our friends, family, loved ones, co-workers, whoever, that are stuck in modern-day Christianity have no idea that that's exactly what they're doing unknowingly. Most of them. I'm sure a lot of them have great, a great desire to serve him and believe they're doing the right thing. And this is why, again, we never, ever should come from a place of pride or even like finger pointing and whatnot. Certainly we should stand for the truth, but what did Messiah say? That we are like a city set on a hill, that it cannot be hid, and that our light should shine forth so others can see this. So we should show the good fruit of what it actually looks like to walk out these commandments. We shouldn't be in the break room at work being like, oh yeah, eating pork, yeah, whatever, yeah, that's an abomination, That's not how we roll, right? Let's do it with some tact. How would Father Abraham do it? Just think about that. And if you don't know how Father Abraham would do it, then that tells me you need to go through the Torah portions with us. And them that are turned back from Yahweh, and those that have not sought Yahweh, nor inquired for him, hold thy peace at the presence of Yahweh Elohim, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. This is what we're talking about. For the Yahweh hath prepared a sacrifice, he hath bid his guests, and it shall come to pass in the day of Yahweh's sacrifice, that I will punish the princes and the children, king's children, and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. And the same day also will I punish all those that leap on the threshold, which fill their masters' houses with violence and deceit. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, this is part of Jerusalem, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Howl, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. And it shall come to pass that I will search Jerusalem with candles and punish the men that are settled on their lease. So here we are at the start of the day of Yahweh, and that's the first thing he's talking about, just, going through Jerusalem and wiping people out. That shall punish the men that are settled on their leaves, that say in their heart, Yahweh will not do good, neither will he do evil. And this reminds me of when Yahushua was talking about those that are lukewarm, that neither hot nor cold, right? Nah, Yahweh will not do good. He's not going to do evil either. He's going to spew them out of his mouth. Therefore, their goods shall become a booty, and their houses a desolation, right? Remember the abomination made desolate. They shall also build houses, but not inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards, but not drink the wine thereof. The great day of Yahweh is near. It is near, and hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of Yahweh. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, right? This is what Messiah Yahushua was talking about, the abomination of desolation, the abomination that's going to be made desolate. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of, at least that's my understanding. Let me not speak with like authority. Let me just say that's what I understand the scriptures to say. I need to be a little more careful. I apologize. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahweh. And this is something we talked about maybe a couple Torah portions ago. There's Genesis 1. About the light being created, the light and the darkness, and when he says, shall walk like blind men, it's like That's a reference of having no light and been stumbling in the noonday as one that gropes, as a blind man gropes. It's because there's no light within them. There's no Torah within their hearts. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of Yahweh's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. Right? And so again, let's reason with each other. What land is he talking about? This land. The land of Canaan, the land of the promise, the Genesis 15 promise to Abraham, which is basically what we call the Levant, the whole Saudi Arabian peninsula, what we know is Israel, Egypt, Ethiopia, all the way up to Lebanon, Syria, what we understand as Iraq. That whole area, gone. See ya. So the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Who's dwelling in the land right now? I'm sure there's a lot of good people scattered in there, but it's a people that honor him with their lips, but their heart is far from them. And if we looked at this many times before, if you look at rabbinic Judaism, and again, I know very well because I grew up in this, and praise Yah, he pulled me out of this. But if you look at it right here, rabbinic Judaism is what inhabits that land right now. So rabbinic Judaism, also called rabbinism, has been the mainstream form of Judaism since the 6th century CE, after the codification of the Babylonian Talmud. There's your satanic book right there. Growing out of Pharisaic Judaism. These are the children of the Pharisees. I'm not proud of that, right? But praise Yah, he woke me up, and maybe a few others. But that's who is inhabiting that land right there. The children of the Pharisees that still are denying Messiah Yahusha. So he'll make a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Hosea 2, 1-13. Say ye unto your brethren, Ami, and to your sister, Ruhama, plead with your mother, plead, for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Right? We're talking about the mother of harlots. Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of her sight. So this is no coincidence that he's talking about his people, his land, calling that her, the mother and whoredoms. And what are we even talking about, right? The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Put away her whoredoms out of her sight, and her adulteries from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked, and set her as in the day that she was born, and make her as a wilderness, and set her like a dry land, and slay her with thirst. What did we just talk about with Mark Twain? He went and visited in 1867, desolate wilderness, and it's been that way since the early first centuries. And I will not have mercy upon her children, for they will be the children of whoredoms. For their mother hath played the harlot. She that conceived them hath done shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers, that give me my bread and my water, my wool and my flax, mine oil and my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up thy way with thorns, and make a wall, that she shall not find her paths. She shall flow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them, and she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then shall she say, I have a problem with that. Shall she say, I will go and return to her first husband, for then it was better with me than now. For she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil, and multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Therefore will I return and take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and will recover my wool and my flax given to cover her nakedness. And now will I discover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of my hand. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbaths, on all her solemn feasts. And I will destroy her vines and her fig trees, whereof she said, These are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. And I will visit upon her the days of Baalim, where she burned incense to them, and she decked herself with her earrings and her jewels, and she went after her lovers and forgot me, saith Yahweh. This is all harlot talk. And this is, again, it's just continuing to show you who this harlot is. We already read this, Isaiah 121. How is the faithful city become a harlot? It was full of judgment and righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. And if we read Isaiah 1:1, this will show you that it's talking to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And here is Messiah Yahusha speaking to the Pharisees. Matthew 15:7-9, he's quoting the Isaiah passage we were talking about earlier. Ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, This people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. And this is what's so heartbreaking about our family and friends and loved ones and coworkers and colleagues and acquaintances that are stuck in modern day Christianity, that believe that they're doing the right thing, because this is what he says, that they're worshiping him in vain. They're not keeping his commandments. They're not his people. And that's sad to say. You might be like, Adam, who are you to say that? But I'm here to say, if you're not keeping his commandments, you're not his. And if you're new and you're like, hey, I love God. I love the Father. I love Yahuwah. I love his son, Messiah, Yahusha. Don't tell me that I'm not his, because I'm not keeping the Sabbath, or, I'm not eating biblically clean, or I'm not doing his feast days, or I'm not wearing tzitzit, or I'm not doing all these things he's commanded me to do. Listen, I'm here to tell you, if you're new, just continue to pray about it, and just keep reading his word, because I can tell you, this is what his word unequivocally says over and over and over and over and over and over again. Brothers and sisters, we can talk all about Mystery Babylon all we want to tonight, and pinpoint her and describe all this kind of stuff, which, this is what I'm doing tonight. But really, if we're not understanding to keep his Torah, then we're missing the whole point, because that's what the whole message is, which we'll read here in a second. That's Revelation 18:4, which says to come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and you do not partake of her plagues. So what is her sins? It's going astray from Yahweh and not keeping his commandments. I mean, brothers and sisters, that is the whole parable of the vineyard. And I've said it many times. That's the whole reason I made this channel the name, the parable of the vineyard. There's two parables of the vineyard. And the one I'm talking about, it's called the parable of the vineyard, but also known as the parable of the wicked tenants. It's where the Most High planted a vineyard, put a fence around it, put a wine press and a tower in it, and put people in it to tend it, to do what? To bring him their fruits in his due season, to bring him the harvest that he deserves. And, what's that a parable for? All you have to do is look at Psalm 1:1-3, which is, I'll probably butcher this, but blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his Torah does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, which bringeth forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. I think I got it. So the point is the fruit of our lives should be the keeping of and walking in his Torah, because if you actually read the Torah for yourself, it's all about being good to others, doing unto others what you would want them to do to you. And that's what Messiah said. He's like, that's the whole point of Torah, is to, do unto others what, have, to do unto you. That's how we love our neighbor. And then Yahweh gives us plain instructions on how we love him. You can even break it down into the first 5 commandments, having no other Elohim, very simple, not making for yourself images and bowing down to them, or even having that kind of idolatry in your heart, loving money and loving all the things of this world more than him, and letting that be a stumbling block to your life. Commandment 3, not taking his name in vain, not having the nameplate of Yahweh, but I'm one of his, but not doing anything he says. That's how we love him, is by not taking his name in vain. We love him again by not having any other gods, by not bowing down to statues and not having idolatry in our heart. We love him by not swearing falsely by his name, not taking his name in vain. We love him by keeping the Shabbat. We love him by honoring our father and mother. And then the last 5 commandments is how we love people, And so my point is if you're new to this walk, those of you who are, you're like, Adam, we're keeping the Torah, we're good, bro, we get it. I got you. Just hang on a second. There's always new people watching this. So this, what some of you have already realized and some of you may not have realized yet, is that the Torah is the honeypot. The Torah is the treasure. I mean, and you'll say, oh no, Messiah is the treasure, the Most High is the treasure. Well, yeah. The Torah is the Most High's ways. He said, this is my likeness. This is who I am. This is what I call good, and this is what I call bad. And it's black and white. There's no man-made doctrine. You gotta speak in tongues to be born again. You gotta do this or that, or you can't smoke cigarettes, or you can't drink alcohol. All that stuff, all man-made stuff. Which I'm not promoting cigarettes, by the way. I'm just saying, I just find me that commandment in Torah. Besides the point, what I'm saying is his Torah. I don't smoke. I'm just goodness. Well, all I'm saying is that the Torah is black and white. It tells us what's good and what's not. It's man-made traditions that twist that and have their own definitions for you that says what's good, what's bad, and then you have other denominations that say other things, and it gets really confusing, and people are just throw their hands up in the air and say, to heck with this. This is all just nonsense. The Torah is the treasure chest. This is what we've been looking for all of our lives. And when you say, oh no, it's Messiah, well, Messiah is the word. Messiah is the Torah. He was literally the walking Torah. He came and showed us how it was done. Okay, let's move on. We just spent an hour and 15 minutes on breaking down 4 chapters. This is how it goes sometimes. Upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babel the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. I think we've covered that pretty well so far. Verse 6, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the Kodeshim, the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahusha. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And so people would say, see, there you go. It's the Catholic Church. They killed all the people. They torched people and all this kind of stuff. I'm here to say, check this out. Matthew 23, 29 through 38, Messiah tells exactly whose hands all this blood is on. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would have not been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers. How can ye escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them ye shall scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth. Now, it's if we can reason with each other. Obviously, Jerusalem didn't kill everybody in the earth, but here's what's happening. Yahweh is putting all the blood on them. What did they say when they crucified Messiah? Pilate said, I wash my hands clean of this man. You do it yourselves. And what did they say? His blood be upon us and our children. That upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. Here he says, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto you, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chicken under her wings, and ye would not. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. And there's again the abomination prophesied to become desolate. So again, this is the woman, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, with the blood on her hands. And he wondered with great admiration, right? That's kind of interesting. Why did he wonder with great admiration? Where have we seen the apostles enamored before? Mark 13, 1 through 2, and as he went out of the temple, one of his disciples said unto him, Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here. Right? They were enamored with Jerusalem. And Yahusha answering him said, Seest thou these great buildings? There shall not be left one stone upon another that shall be not thrown down. We got a little more here. Nahum 3:1-11. Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. Behold, I am against you, saith Yahweh Sebaot. And I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon you, and make thee vile, and I will set thee as a gazing stock. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? You might be saying to yourself, well, Adam, he's not talking about Jerusalem, he's talking about Nineveh. This is why it's a mystery. I believe that this was concealed through the prophets in many ways. Now listen. Art thou better than Populus? No, that was situate among the rivers that had the waters round about it, whose rampart was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Nineveh has no sea next to her. Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength. Nineveh never relied on Ethiopia and Egypt as her strength, but Jerusalem did. They erred. They originally erred, and Hezekiah originally erred because he rebelled from Sennacherib, and he sought Egypt for help. And Sennacherib came down and he rebuked him. He's like, you're trusting in that broken reed that is Egypt. That if a man rests his hand on it, it'll pierce through his hand. So Jerusalem was actually guilty of leaning on Egypt, right? And her strength, and it was infinite. Put and Lubim were thy helpers, yet she was carried away. She went into captivity. Who went into captivity? Who was carried away into captivity? Jerusalem. Yet she was, actually the whole house of Israel was, and yet she was carried away. She went into captivity. Her young children also were dashed in pieces at the top of all the streets, and they cast lots for her honorable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. Thou also shalt be drunken, thou shalt be hid, thou shalt also seek the strength because of the enemy. And we're going to back up a little bit to Nahum 2, which is still talking about this harlot, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It still says again here, this is Nahum 2, 8-12, it still says about Nineveh, right? And I'm telling you, I really don't believe this is talking about Nineveh. Let's keep reading. But Nineveh is of old like a pool of water, yet they shall flee away. Stand, stand. They shall cry, but none shall look back. Take ye the spoil of silver, take the spoil of gold, for there is none end of the store and glory out of all the pleasant furniture. She is empty and void and waste, and the heart melteth, the knees smite together, and much pain is in all loins, and the faces of them gather blackness. Where is the dwelling of the lions and the feeding place of the young lions, where the lion, even the old lion, walked, and the lions whelp, and none made them afraid? This is a reference actually to Judah. The lion did tear in pieces enough for his whelps, and strangled for his lioness, and filled his holes with prey, and his dens with ravin. This is an allusion to Benjamin, and where did Jerusalem situate? In between, well, actually, it was in the land of Benjamin, but Jerusalem roundabout, or Judah roundabout. So Genesis 49:9, talking about the lion's whelp, right? And none made them afraid. Genesis 49:9, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, and who shall rouse him up? So what are we talking about? The old lion and the lion's whelp, right? An old lion, the lion's whelp and an old lion. It's exactly who it's talking about here. Genesis 49:7, Benjamin shall raven as a wolf, right? And in his dens with ravin. Lions don't have... Yeah, the lions do have dens, yeah. And his dens with ravin. So that could be an allusion to a lion or a wolf, but certainly we see Benjamin shall raven as a wolf, and Jerusalem was situated in the land of Benjamin. Verse verse 7. And the angel said to me, wherefore did you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And I think one of the reasons why John actually marveled is because Jerusalem, it was this 90 AD, Jerusalem had already been destroyed. And I think he saw a picture of Jerusalem being rebuilt, maybe in the last days, buzzing with people, getting ready to just be annihilated. And so he was probably like, wow, Jerusalem, she's alive again. Just a thought, just a hunch. Okay, verse 8. This is an interesting passage. The beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the CEPHER of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And so really all I believe this is kind of saying is it's kind of giving you an idea of the beast who was, because the beast reigned on the earth. Like I said, the Roman Empire reigned from roughly, this is really rough on my dates, 200 BC-ish, maybe 150 BC-ish, all the way to 1798. They ruled this world. So was and is not, from roughly 1798 to 1929, poof, gone, out of the scene. And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now this is where we have to kind of jump ahead to Revelation 19. Revelation 19 through 21, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of burning fire with brimstone, and the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So here is the beast being thrown into the bottomless pit. Let's go to Revelation 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit. Because remember, here in 19, the beast was taken and thrown into the bottomless pit. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should not deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. And then we'll just put down here. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are at the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. So, any case, really what I'm saying here is I think this is just giving you an overall view of everything that happens to the beast, the past, present, and future. And I believe that this bottomless pit reference is talking about is what we just read in a future tense, in what we saw in Revelation 19 and 20. All right, now we're going to read Revelation 17, 9 through 11. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goes into perdition. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings for 1 hour with the beast. So I hope this works. Earlier, if you joined us kind of pre Shabbat gathering, I got started about 15 minutes early. I was trying to show you a video, and the sound wouldn't work. Let's try here. Hang on. All right, so we're gonna go to, this is the video I did back in 2019 called Unlocked, the Beast of Revelation. It's a 22-minute video. I think it just shows you everything you need to understand about who the beast is. Okay, let's see if this will work. Hold on. Please work. Okay. Maybe I'll just narrate it for you then. All right, hold on. Okay, so let's go. We're going to talk about the 7 heads, right? Let's talk about the 7 heads. So here, again, considering that Rome is, here we go. All right, let's keep going. All right, pause. Okay, so here are the 7 heads. So Rome, from its inception till now, is ruled by 7 heads. The first one was kings, then it shifted into a republic, then into a decemviri, then a triumvirate, then dictators, then emperors, and then popes. And 5, it said 5 had fallen, 1 is, and at that time of this writing, emperors existed. For example, Tiberius Caesar was an emperor. He was like a king of kings, and they had like Herod was subservient to Tiberius. And then 1 yet to come, which what followed after emperors was popes. And so and really there's a lot more to this, but like I said, I wanted to really focus on Mystery Babylon tonight, but since we're going through this, I kind of just wanted to share it really quickly. I really would say that you might be really blessed by going through this video. Okay, and the beast that was and is not yet, even he is the 8th and is of the 7 and goeth into perdition. Let's go into theater mode. So when I was telling you earlier, in 1798, the papacy rule had ended by Napoleon. He had ended the papal rule, period. And then he kind of took over. And the papacy kind of lay dormant until 1929, when this Lateran Treaty, which I believe was the healing of the wound of the head. This was the count, essentially, and it's talking about the 8, which is of the 7. And now I was telling you earlier that the popes were the 7th form of the heads of government of Rome. And so now we're shifting to the 8. I'm sorry here. And the beast that was and is not yet, even he is the 8th and is of the 7, which is of the 7th head, and goeth into perdition. And so isn't it interesting that since the wound was healed, you've got Pope 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here we are at the 8th. And I do believe this will be the last Pope, and I do believe that we are very close to the end. So I'm giving you kind of the short version. This is literally 22 minutes. I would highly recommend you watch this if you have more questions about the identity of the beast. Matter of fact, let's just go. I'm going to show you a couple of playlists that might bless you. So first of all, I would highly recommend this video last night. This probably is one of my more favorite videos to do. So here's an interesting playlist: Mark of the Beast / Mystery Babylon. So this is the video I'm telling you about right here. Unlocked the Beast of Revelation. This is super important. All this talk about like vaccines and whatever else, Bitcoin, whatever. I would highly recommend you take a look at this. It's called Avoiding the Mark of the Beast. Mystery Babylon. This is the kind of video I was trying to show you tonight as well. This is a 35-minute video, just really quickly going through all the points, the quick points of Mystery Babylon. And of course, this one, you need to watch this one as well. But where was the other one I wanted to show with you? Oops, that's not what I want to do. Anyways, so yeah, just take a look at those when you get some time. You watch out. You may be blessed. You may be blessed, I said. Okay. Another thing, Brother Yuka Forte, he shared something interesting with me about the 7. It was kind of interesting. I want to share this with you. So Deuteronomy 7:1, when Yahweh thy Elohim shall bring you into the land whither you goes to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before you, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. So when they went into the promised land, they had to destroy 7 nations. And so it's interesting that you've got kind of this number 7 here, symbolizing, like, again, I kind of shared with you my kind of thoughts on that, but another interesting look at that same scenario is, or a different scenario, excuse me, is you've got kind of a 7-nation kind of coalition type of thing, which is kind of interesting. Another thing it said, let's see. It says the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And so people take that very, very literally, and they'll say, hey, Roma's built on 7 hills. There she is. There's Babylon. But keep in mind, if you want to take it really literally, what's interesting is, guess what else is built on 7 hills? Jerusalem is as well. And you can see it right here. These are the 7 hills that Jerusalem is built upon. So pretty cool. Cool is the wrong word. Pretty interesting, right? So if you want to take it literally, you can do that as well. And yeah, we're good there. Okay. So let's go to Revelation 17:12 through 13. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings which have received no kingdoms as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. And so that's what we saw in Revelation 13:1 through 2 when we read that together, is that this is your true one world order. It's going to happen. The world is going to come together, and there's going to be a lot of things that are going to lead up to that. I think it's going to be a combination of New Jerusalem hovering in the sky, the area that we're talking about, it's going to be annihilated. I think these things are going to bring the people together and be like, wow, that's the alien threat that just destroyed, this land and just killed millions of people. That's our enemy. We need to destroy. What they don't know is that's the righteous judgment of Yahweh, and that's what has been decreed upon that land for many, many years. So what do we? We already read this. So basically, saw that all the animals of Daniel's dream came together and formed this one beast, and they all, like I said, they all just came together. No, there's an interesting passage that is really intriguing. It's 2 Ezra 13. And basically, here we see here, after this I looked, and behold, an innumerable multitude of men were gathered together from the 4 winds of heaven to make war against the man who came up out of the sea. And I looked, and behold, he carved out for himself a great mountain and flew upon it. This is New Jerusalem, him flying upon it. And I tried to see the regional place from which the mountain was carved, and this is a direct reference to Daniel 2, with this great mountain that was cut without hands. New Jerusalem was formed by the hands of Messiah Yahushua himself. And after this I looked, and behold, all who gathered together against him to wage war with him were much afraid, yet dared to fight. And behold, when he saw the onrush of the approaching multitude, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held a spear or any weapon of war, but I only saw how he sent forth from his mouth as it were a stream of fire, and from his lips a flaming breath, and from his tongue he shot forth a storm of sparks. Right? This is like alien stuff, right? If this is literal, this is like alien stuff. But let me actually go to the interpretation. Here we go. Verse 29, and again, this is 2 Ezra 13. Behold, the days are coming when the Most High will deliver those who are on the earth, and bewilderment of mind shall come over those who dwell on the earth, and they shall plan to make war against one another, city against city, place against place, people against people, kingdom against kingdom. And this has been happening for centuries of just this war against each other. And when these things come to pass, and the signs occur which I showed you before, then my son will be revealed, whom you saw as a man coming up from the sea. And now listen very closely. This is the New World Order. And when all nations hear his voice, every man shall leave his own land and the warfare that they had against another. So everybody's going to stop fighting each other. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw, desiring to come and conquer him. but he will stand on the top of Mount Zion, New Jerusalem, and Zion will come and be made manifest to all people, prepared and built. The New Jerusalem does not come at the end of the 1,000-year reign. It comes at the beginning of the day of Yahweh and starts everything. This shows you exactly how it happens. And Zion will come and be made manifest to all people, prepared and built, as you saw the mountain carved without hands. And he, my son, will reprove the assembled nations for their ungodliness. This was symbolized by the storm, and will reproach them to the face with their evil thoughts and torments with which they are to be tortured, which are symbolized by the fire, and will destroy them without effort by the law, by the Torah, which was symbolized by the fire. Anyways, so there's your New World Order. So long story short, we've been talking about this a lot over the last couple months, that New Jerusalem's going to come down. That's going to be your alien threat. That's why all the alien movies are about, so that, when this happens and Mystery Babylon is annihilated with fire and millions of people die like that, that's your alien threat, and that's how the nations of the world gather together to unite against that threat, and there's your one world order. Okay, so let's go verse 14. And these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Adonai ha-Adonim, and Melech ha-Melechim, so King of Kings and Lord of Lords, as they say. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So that's actually really interesting, and I can't believe I totally missed this part of my study. So those people that are with Messiah are called, and he said, many are called, but few are chosen and faithful. And that's a huge difference. The lawless faith of modern day Christianity, says, totally takes Habakkuk out of context when it says the just shall live by faith. And really what that word actually is, faithfulness, or being faithful. And being faithful is a lot different than saying we're being saved by faithfulness is a lot different than saying we're saved by faith. So the people that are with him, so if you want to make it, if you want to be with him, you need to be called, chosen, and faithful. The just shall live by his faithfulness. And what's faithfulness? Well, all we got to do is read the rest of scriptures. What did Noah do? What did Abraham do? What did Isaac do? What did Jacob do? What did David do? What did Moshe do? What did all the righteous men, what did they do? They kept the commandments of the Most High. That's what this has always been about. There's nothing new under the sun. He doesn't change, right? People will be like, and you've heard this before, no one can keep the law, and the law was made so that, it points us to Christ, and the law shows you that nobody can keep it. That's not true. There has been many who have kept the Torah, and I'm here to say that the prophecy of the Holy Spirit was to help us keep the Torah, period. And what does Messiah say? Only through me can you bear the fruit, which is the fruit. Again, the fruit is the keeping of the Torah, all of it. So if you want to make it, we got to be faithful, and we got to keep his commandments. End of story. Anyone that tells you otherwise fails the Deuteronomy 13 test. And, well, what does 1 John 2, 3 through 4 say? Herein is how we know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. He that says, I know him, and keeps not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth, the Torah, is not in him. So verse 14. So anyway, so the first part of this says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, right? So the kings of the earth, these people that have one mind, this one world order, is going to gather around him, like we saw in 2 Esdras, trying to take him over. And what is we're not going to go over this because this is stuff we've been talking about a lot the last few weeks, so I don't want to be redundant. But Zephaniah 3:8 is kind of the core of this. Therefore wait ye upon me, and Yahweh knows we're doing that. Wait upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nations. So this is Yahweh's mind, is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to do what? To pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So it's Yahweh's plan to gather the nations together so that he may take them down. Verse 15, he said unto me, the waters which you saw where the horse sits are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So we already went over that. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. I knew there was another video I wanted to share with you. It is right here. This could be like one of the more important, if you really want to understand what I'm yapping about how that land over there is going to be annihilated. Take yourself about 39 minutes and watch this video, please. Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36 is a very blunt prophecy that in the end days, the evil people that run this world will have control over the land of Israel and will build her up just to be set up as a prop to destroy her, basically as bait for the nations. I really would highly recommend you watch this again. It's called Ezekiel 36, End Times Israel. Okay, verse 17, for Yahweh has put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. So this is what I was saying earlier. You can talk trash all about, the kings of the earth that you want to, but quite frankly, they're doing what Yahweh's put in their minds, and obviously, he chose them to do it for specific reasons. Those, his ways are higher than ours. We don't know. Maybe because he did find iniquity in their hearts, and he's like, well, I'm gonna use you for this purpose. But we have to remember that Yahweh is in control. That he says, Isaiah 10:5-6. It says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger. This is Yahuwah speaking, right? O Assyrian, the rod of my anger. So Assyria, the enemies of Israel, the enemies of the northern kingdom, and eventually the southern kingdom as well. And the staff in their hand is my indignation. I will send him against an hypocritical nation and against the people of my wrath, and I will give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. So literally, the Most High raised up the Assyrians to be his indignation, to destroy, to take down the northern kingdom and send them into captivity. Isaiah 45:7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, do all these things. Some people might find fault in that. But I think you have to understand that his ways are way higher than ours, and we can't possibly understand everything. However, think about this. If he did not allow evil to spring forth, how would we know the difference between good and evil? How would we know what's good? How would we appreciate good? How would we appreciate Yahweh's mercy? How would we understand these things unless we have seen evil for our very selves, unless we had run into an evil person or had a dealings with an evil person that has treated us with shame and contempt or violence or a multitude of different things? We wouldn't understand. This is part of the sorrow and the toil that we've kind of inherited for being banished from the garden, right? In sorrow and toil, you'll eat bread all the days of your life. This is kind of the lessons that we're learning. And the good news is, if we hearken to his voice, if we come back to him in spirit and in truth, all these things are for our edification and for our understanding. And, when we see evil and we turn from it, and again, remember Psalm 1:1-3, blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor sitteth with the seat of the scornful. I messed that up already. But anyways, we learn from that. We grow from that. And it's just a concept we just need to understand, that all of this, comes from him. And it's for our own very good. It's for our own good. think about the prophet Jeremiah. Yahweh called him and told him to do all these things. And he's like, fear not, I'll be with you. These people won't hurt you. He said that I've made you as I've made you this day as a wall, as an iron wall or something like that, that nobody can harm you or touch you. And so, he stood in the gate and basically had that, famous speeches, reproving the children of Israel of Judah for their, or of Jerusalem for their faults and their ways, and reprove them, prophesying and all these kind of things. And, what ends up happening? He gets thrown into a dungeon in prison. And, he's probably thinking to himself, man, what did I go wrong? Like, what did I do? He could have been like, woe is me. But little did he know that through that, he ended up being released, and, he ended up being actually, he still was kept within the courts, but through the extreme famine that came through the land, people starved to death. People were so hungry that they literally killed their babies and ate their babies because food was that scarce. But Jeremiah, through his imprisonment, was given bread every single day. And so what seemed like, like a moment of Yahweh forsaking him, was actually a hidden way of preserving him. Same thing with Joseph. I mean, Joseph didn't do wrong, and he was put into prison, and he could have been like, woe is me, why has Yahweh allowed this? But through his patience, he was raised up to being king, and through all that whole event, he preserved his whole house by feeding them and bringing them to Egypt. And anyway, so all I'm saying is that I don't know why I got on this tangent. We gotta trust Yahweh. Even though these people that run the earth are they have control and rule temporarily. Just know that the people the QAnons, they trust the plan. Let's trust Yahweh's plan, right? Because he's got it all figured out. And that is really the big lesson for tonight, is we've got to trust what he said way more than, what's going on in this world or anything that may seem like just overwhelming. And, a dear sister was talking to me about this the other day. And she's like, every time we talk about what's going on in this world and what's the lead up to, and when's the vaccine coming out, and this, all we're doing is talking about how big Goliath is. Why? Who cares? You read Psalm 91, and what a lot of people miss about that is it says, my truth the truth shall be your shield and your buckler. Which we know, a lot of you know that if you're new, Psalm 119, 142 defines the truth as the Torah. So the Torah is literally our shield and our buckler. I'm here to say that I believe in, by keeping his commandments, that, even if destruction comes upon this land and he doesn't gather us before then, look what happened to people like Jeremiah and Baruch, people that were righteous and kept his commandments. When Nebuchadnezzar came in, he's like, do what you want to do. If you want to hang out here, great. If you want to come with us, cool. But you're good. I got you. Literally, that's literally. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what happened. Nebuchadnezzar's like, yeah, Jeremiah, you're good. Don't harm this guy. Why? Because he was protected. Because he was a righteous man. And I believe that if something happens to this country, I really believe that his Torah will be our shield and buckler yet again. I really believe that. And I believe the people that will be like sheep to the slaughter will be those that honor him with their lips, but their heart is far from him. It's always been his people, quote unquote, that call upon him, but don't do anything he says, are the ones that are at the tip of his sword. It's always been that way. Because they are supposed to know better, right? Okay, last verse tonight. We'll stop at, I guess that worked out fine. We'll just do chapter 17 this week, and we'll do chapter 18 next week. And the woman which you saw is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. And this is actually really interesting. It says reigns over the kings of the earth, but that's actually not the case. If you look at, this is the interlinear, and the woman which you saw is the city, the great, having kingship over the kings of the earth. So let's actually look at this. Basilian. And we look at it. It was 61 times this word was used, and every single time it was kingdom, 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 kingdom. Every single time it was translated as kingdom, 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 kingdom. Not a single deviation. Kingdom, kingdom, kingdom. And then we get to Revelation 17, kingship. Why? It's the same exact word, but they changed it. They changed the definition. Why? Maybe to conceal it. Maybe that's part of the mystery. I don't know. But truly what this should read is having a kingdom. And if you look at the word epi, let's take a look at that. And if you look at the word epi, a primary preposition properly meaning superimposition of time, place, order, etc. So what I really think this should read is having a kingdom at the time of the kings of the earth. So what do I believe this is actually saying? And the woman which you saw is that great city which has a kingdom at the time of the kings of the earth. And what's the time of the kings of the earth? It's these end times with these end times kings that give their kingdom unto the beast to create this new world order and to rebel against the Most High, rebel against New Jerusalem and Messiah Yahushua when it comes. That's what I believe this is supposed to read. Look at it for yourself. Take a look at the Greek very closely for yourself. Let's take a look at that great city. I'm just glad that the commercial is not that one guy that's like, why does a serpent crawl on its belly when that's what it does? Because that was after the curse. Okay. Anyways, so let's take a look at. Here we go. So here are the. Oh, here we go. So Mr. Babylon, that great city, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So we can see Babylon is equated with that great city in Revelation 14:7. Revelation 17:8, which we just read, and the woman which you saw is that great city, which has a kingdom at the time of the kings of the earth. Which is amazing because that's exactly what's happening now. There is a kingdom sitting on that land at the time of the kings of the earth. I think we're at the doorstep, brothers and sisters. Revelation 18:9-10, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. The merchants of these things, this is now Revelation 18:15-16. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. And so here we are. Mystery Babylon revealed. Oops. Why is it doing that? This is that video I was trying to share with you guys, but the audio doesn't. Here we go. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Adonai was crucified. Our Adonai is Messiah Yahushua. I think even probably your children sitting at home knows where he was crucified. And there's one place, Jerusalem. Brothers and sisters, Mystery Babylon is Jerusalem, and I pray that you saw that the scriptures had unequivocally shown that tonight, but nevertheless, I'll let you test that for yourself. And let's see, so I got people texting me. What's going on? Okay. Just want to make sure there's people that, some of the moderators texted me. I just want to make sure that it wasn't like, your microphone's out, we can't hear you. So, any case, we're going to end this for tonight. I got a couple of I have a couple of announcements, and I pray you stay here because they're actually really important. So don't jump off just yet. There is an event next week. So next week, we're probably just going to do actually a Torah portion. I might skip the Revelation stream next week. There is an event that I'm going to be participating in next week, and I hope you can join me. It's called United in Yah, and I'm going to put this in the chat. And you guys can sign up for yourself as well. And what this is, it's a 24-hour online event, and there's going to be tons of different participants. I'll let you read the rules for yourself, but basically you can either participate by just joining in and watching, or you can be one of the presenters, and I'm going to be one of the presenters. My time slot next week is going to be from 10:15 p.m. Central Standard Time to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, if I have that right. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading from the Psalms. I'm going to be starting at Psalm 119, and I'm going to try to finish the rest of the Psalms in my hour time slot. But they let me know that if I go a little over, I'm okay. So you all can join in if you'd like as well. There's a sign up form right here, and you can do one of three things. You can either pray, or you can sing a song to the Most High, to Yahusha, or you can read Scripture. This is not a teaching thing, so I'm not going to be teaching, but I'm just going to be reading Scripture for you and anyone that watches. And again, you all can join up and be presenters yourself if you'd like. All you got to do is sign up. There's some rules, which I am in favor of. And one of them... yeah. So anyways, I'll let you look at all those for yourself, but they do ask that we speak the set apart names and not the pagan names. Love that. I'm in complete agreement with that, especially for such a Kodesh event like this. So again, this is 13th of November, so literally a week from today, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and going for 24 hours, and you can sign up right here. And you can participate. Here's like a little promo video. I'll let you watch that for yourself. But it's www.unitedinyah.org. So unitedinyah.org. Unitedinyah.org. And this is this is by the Hallelujah Scriptures team. So very, very excited. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I hope I'm okay. Sister, you called me earlier, but I don't know if you told me this was like secret. But y'all know one of the big reasons I love the CEPHER is they have all the set apart books, the removed books included, not all of them, but a lot of them that I enjoy. The Apocrypha, the Dead Sea Scrolls stuff like Enoch and Jubilees, and other books like Jasher, and are all included in one convenient volume. And I'm excited to say that the Hallelujah Scriptures team is working on making a also combined volume that combines not only the 66 book canon, but some of the other books I was mentioning. So I'm actually really excited for that. That is going to be really, really interesting. So, but yeah, consider this, and I hope that you can join me. Again, I'll be here next. So what we'll probably do next week is we'll do our Torah portion from like 8 to like 10. I'll take a quick break, and then 10:15 I'm going to jump on this, and I'm going to be presenting on here. Not presenting, I'm just going to be reading Scripture. So you can join me, and you can, if not, if you want to present as well, you can pick a time slot and go to the sign up sheet and do something yourself. So it sounds like a great opportunity. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. A couple other announcements. What did I say? Okay, so anybody that's local that comes to our Shabbat gatherings, a couple things. Looks like we might start going every week now. So that after this, I think we might be doing it every week. I'll talk to you guys about that tomorrow. We will be gathering together at the same place, at Finley River Park in Ozark. So come join us tomorrow at noon. I said this a few weeks ago, the harvest is plenteous. We all have our calling from Yah to serve this His kingdom. So whatever you're called to do, listen, do it with all your might, because I think this is just we've got to be so close with everything that's going on worldwide. We've got to be close, and let's stay busy with what the Most High has called us to do, not being busy with the cares of this world, but being busy into what each of us have been called out to do. This is what I've been called to do, what I'm doing here today. You all might have different tasks from the Most High. So whatever that is, get to it. This is the time. And if you don't know what it is, ask him. Ask him, and he will reveal it to you. I really believe. Yeah, Eddie, you guys should come down. You guys start leaving now. Just come on down. Come on down. Let's do it. So, yeah, you guys should all move down to the Southwest Missouri area. We're building a community. Come on down. Would love to have you. The Shabbat gatherings have been amazing, and we're actually going to be building a community. We're actually working on getting some land, and